How are you doing today? I wish I could hear your voices back. Welcome to the 4th annual Power of Purple. My name is Jean Sparrow, and I'll be your host for today. I'm an on-air personality at V103 WVAZ, an iHeart media station here in Chicago. And I really appreciate you for joining us today. This cause is near and dear to my heart, and I know all of you are here to support as well. So as you saw from that recent facts and figures video that we just showed, there has never been a more critical time for us to come together as a community to support the Alzheimer's Association. I regret that we weren't able to be together in person, but thank you so much for joining us virtually, and get ready for next year when we can see each other in person and hug and support each other face to face. Show us how you're celebrating today. I wore my purple, I got my pin on. Yeah, I still have on yoga pants down below, but I'm not the only one, I'm sure. Share your photos with us on social media at #PowerOfPurple21. And also don't forget to tag the Alzheimer's Association Illinois chapter. As we get started, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank the Power of Purple Planning Committee, led by co-chairs Amy Sunshine and Jessica Wright. We are incredibly grateful for your leadership and your dedication, and thanks to everyone else who is on the committee, as you see listed here. I'd also like to recognize those who have sponsored today's event. Without you, this isn't possible. So please join me in thanking our bronze sponsors, Amy Sunshine, Greenberg Traurig, Jessica Skincare Laboratories, the Moran family of brands, the Nolan family, and our tribute sponsors, Michelle Carlson, First Midwest Bank, Danny Giacchino, Teresa McElroy, Victoria Raymont, and Mary Wasick. We appreciate your generous support once again this year. Please join us in the chat if you are joining us today. Just get in there and let's start talking. And whether you're here because you lost someone to the disease, or because you're currently caring for someone who's living with the disease, or you're concerned about getting it yourself, please share your story with us. Tell us why you're here. And we're all a community here to support each other. Now, the committee has done a fabulous job, as always, putting together an amazing auction. It includes wonderful things like a beach house stay, fine wines and spirits, private Pilates lessons, some jewelry. I saw a couple I have my eye on, and more. And if you're not registered yet, please text Power of Purple 21 to 76278. You see it right there on your screen to start bidding now on these auction items. It will close at 5 today, so you do have time to do it after our event is done, our virtual event is done. Now, if you're also inspired to make a gift, we welcome those as well. Please donate at powerofpurple21.givesmart.com. You can also donate through your phone by texting Power of Purple 21 to 76278, as you see on your screen. You just follow give and the amount that you would like to give. And I'm excited to share that thanks to the support of the Make It Better Media Group, the McAssie family, the Setsky family, and Amy Sunshine, your gift today will be matched up to $10,000. So we'll double the money and get more money to the Alzheimer's Association, and fighting this condition and making sure that those in the future have a cure, or at least better treatment, and better than we are today. Plus, anyone who donates today will be entered to win a beautiful floral arrangement from Petal Design by Renee Ziprich. So thank you, Renee. We appreciate it. Those are gorgeous. And now, excuse me, without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Delia Gervier, the Alzheimer's Association's Region 9 leader and the Executive Director of the Illinois chapter. Delia?
Thank you, Jean, and thank you all for joining us today. The statistics of the Alzheimer's crisis are staggering. In Illinois alone, over 230,000 people are living with Alzheimer's, and that number is projected to rise to 260,000 by 2025. Alzheimer's and dementia deaths have increased by 17% during the COVID-19 pandemic in Illinois. The pandemic has also posed significant challenges to family members and friends who provide care for people with dementia. Of the 381,000 caregivers in Illinois, 53% report chronic health conditions, and 21% report depression. As you can see, the latest numbers, those living with Alzheimer's and dementia need our help now more than ever. We at the Alzheimer's Association Illinois chapter are committed to making sure no one faces this disease alone. When the pandemic began, we quickly reinvented our programs and services for families and caregivers. Support groups and care consultation appointments are available now by telephone or video conference. Education programs and research conferences also have made the switch to virtual and are offered free of charge. And our free 24/7 helpline, where master's level counselors are available to talk day or night, continues to provide reliable support and information to all who need it. Our Illinois advocates are also making great strides at both the state and federal level, calling upon their lawmakers to protect all those living with dementia and helping to make our state dementia capable. As a matter of fact, this year, we have achieved a significant victory, passing legislation to mandate training for primary care physicians, at least 1 hour of dementia training when they renew their license. It is the first bill of its kind in the country, and Illinois was a trendsetter with this. In addition to care, support, and advocacy, the Alzheimer's Association is also the world's largest nonprofit funder of Alzheimer's research, behind only the US and Chinese governments. The Alzheimer's Association is committed to accelerating the global effort to eliminate Alzheimer's. We have undertaken a multitude of diverse research initiatives working toward methods of treatment, prevention, and ultimately a cure. I am now excited to share a special message from Dr. Joanne Pike regarding a new Alzheimer's treatment.
Hello, I'm Dr. Joanne Pike, Chief Strategy Officer for the Alzheimer's Association. We welcome and celebrate the Food and Drug Administration's historic approval of aducanumab for the treatment of Alzheimer's disease. This is a victory for the millions of families most impacted by this devastating disease. This is the first ever FDA-approved treatment for the underlying biology of Alzheimer's, not just the symptoms, which could mean more time for individuals to actively participate in daily life, have sustained independence, and hold on to memories longer. This begins a new era in Alzheimer's treatment and research. I am proud of the contributions the Alzheimer's Association has made that have helped bring us to this historic moment. But our work has just begun. As the leader in the quest to end Alzheimer's and all other dementia, you can be assured that the Alzheimer's Association will fight to ensure access to this treatment and ultimately others for all communities. As always, thank you for everything you do to advance our mission, making a difference today and tomorrow for the millions of Americans facing this disease.
Thank you, Dr. Pike, and to all of our supporters for helping us get to this historic moment. Of course, our work is not done. With all that has changed this past year, please know the Alzheimer's Association continues to be here for you until the day where we can see the end of Alzheimer's disease and all other dementias. We are so grateful to Illinois Women Conquer ALZ and all of you for everything you do to support our mission. I am pleased now to introduce the chair of Illinois Women Conquer ALZ, Michelle Carlson.
Thank you, Delia. I am here today to honor my mother through my work with the Alzheimer's Association and with the Illinois Women Conquer ALZ. My mother has had dementia for the last 10 years, and it has been quite a journey. And I have found it so valuable to me to participate in this group, to learn more about the disease, and to be able just to better communicate and understand what makes sense. And so I encourage you to recognize that as we go through our event today. Since 2017, Illinois Women Conquer ALZ has worked to engage and empower more women with the fight against Alzheimer's disease and dementia by raising awareness, taking action through fundraising events, education, and advocacy initiatives. I am incredibly grateful to all of our current members who have shared their time and their resources. Please know that you are making a difference. We are making an impact, and it is greatly appreciated. Although we haven't been able to get together this year in person, I am proud at how we've remained connected, both offering fun and educational virtual programs throughout the year. I would like to invite you to join Illinois Women Conquer ALZ. By becoming a member of this dynamic group, you will have exclusive access to women-focused educational programs, networking, and social events throughout the year. Plus, your membership is tax deductible and used to support Alzheimer's Association programs, services, and the important research. Please sign up now to become a member or to renew your membership. You simply need to go to ilalzwomen.org. That's ilalzwomen.org. Our collective voice will be strengthened by your support and will move us closer to our mission so that we can one day live in a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia. Now I am pleased to share that one of our most recent events was an interview with artist Suzanne Dotson. During the program, Suzanne shared how her mother's journey with dementia inspired her paintings in the series, Can You Tell Me Who I Am? Suzanne and the Sarah Gormley Gallery generously offered a limited edition print reproduction of her last painting in the series, She Left in Peace. This was created specifically for Illinois Women Conquer ALZ, and it's available for your purchase today and does benefit the Alzheimer's Association. We are so excited to have Suzanne Dotson here with us today, here to share more about She Left in Peace is artist Suzanne Dotson.
I started painting in January of 20, and my mother was continuing to really recede into a great deal of dementia. And I was both grieving and celebrating her life in many ways. And this particular painting, I started out, probably it was maybe in March, and I wanted to paint something that was black and with white and talking about my grief. And I found that I was not happy with it. And I only really repainted this painting after she had passed. And one of the things I thought about is that I needed to celebrate both her legacy, and the green that I put into that particular piece was really about legacy and growth. And she did leave 4 children and 4 grandchildren and some great grandchildren. And the other thing that I used in that particular painting was the purple. And my mother was the matriarch of our family. She ran the whole show. When my father was his business, she took care of the business end of that. So she really was this strong, important person. And then the other thing that happened were the roses. My mother loved roses. She loved pink. She loved roses. And I felt that they couldn't be the pink. I had painted other pink ones, and I felt that was more symbolic of her as she was alive. So I felt that I needed to shift the color of the pink to a little bit something weightier, a little more regal, and that's how I used the purple. So this painting was really completed after she died. And the title comes from my sister asking her probably the last few days of her life, did she have any regrets? And she said, no, I have no regrets. And so I felt that allowed her to leave in peace.
Suzanne, thank you again for joining us today. I found her previous presentation so heartwarming that I actually went to the gallery website. It's a beautiful website on what she's got. And I purchased a painting and want to encourage all of you again to purchase the print. It is beautiful and just so meaningful as we all deal with this journey of Alzheimer's. And I do hope you will all join us as members. So we hope to see you again soon. Thank you, Suzanne.
And thank you all. And that painting was beautiful. The story behind it, even more beautiful, along with all of your stories that you are pouring into the chat. We all know that we are not alone in our struggle and in our triumphs with this disease. All right. Well, don't forget the auction doesn't close until 5 o'clock today. So if you're interested in anything, oh my, passion for pie. Why is that the first thing my eye caught? Go to powerofpurple.21.com or text powerofpurple21 to 76278 to get your bids in on all of these great items, including the print from Suzanne Dotson that we just heard that wonderful story about. That is available on here as well. Lots of other great luxury goods and shoes and everything a girl desires. All right, now I am pleased to introduce Dr. Neelam Agarwal. Dr. Agarwal is a board certified cognitive neurologist, clinical trialist, and associate professor in the Department of Neurological Sciences at Rush University Medical Center. She is the senior examining neurologist for the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center Clinical Core and the Cardiology Cognitive Clinic at the Rush Heart Center for Women, where she also serves as the center's research director. She serves as the Rush Steering Committee member and site principal investigator for multiple NIH-funded consortium-led clinical trials in cognition and prevention of Alzheimer's disease. She was appointed as the first Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer for the American Medical Women's Association and has held leadership roles with Women in Bio and the AMA Women's Physicians section. Amongst her many achievements, she was awarded the 2016 Women in Science Award from the American Medical Women's Association. If you have any questions about what Dr. Agarwal is going to talk to us about today, or anything else you'd like to ask her, please put those in the chat as well. And we hope to have time to answer as many questions as we can today. And if not, we will follow up after the event with answers for your questions. Thank you so much. We are so honored, and we welcome Dr. Neelam Agarwal.
Well, thank you. That was terrific. And I'm so pleased to be here with everyone today. I have so much to share with you. We don't have a lot of time, so fasten your seatbelts. I have been discussing having follow-up conversations because really this is a conversation that I would like to start with regards to not only what we know with Alzheimer's disease and prevention, but really focus on some of the sex differences and sex and gender differences that we're investigating with this disease, and how this disease is impacting all of us. As I was reading the chat, I can see all the notes coming through and the personal experiences so many of you have had with Alzheimer's disease, how it's touched you and me. And so therefore, this is really relevant for us as women to think about the disease, not only as how it's affecting us, but what do we know about the science behind the disease, and where is the research going? So I'm going to start my presentation. Let's talk about some fast facts. Now, I purposely left this slide out from 2015. The association does a terrific job in updating these numbers, but I left this up right now to show that in 2015, we were talking about 5.1 million people aged 65 and older with Alzheimer's disease. Now that number from 2021 with the most updated data is 6.2 million. So I want you to think about that from just the short period of time, how the number of persons living with the disease continues to increase. The sex difference that we're seeing continues to stay there, and we have not lost that effect, as we say in epidemiology studies. The effect is there, that there is a sex difference occurring with more women being affected than men. And we are seeing similar trending now with our racial and ethnic minority groups being affected disproportionately more with the disease than the white community. Now, because these trends are increasing and because these trends are continuing, it's interesting to see how we fare in this area compared to other diseases. And I show this slide quite a bit to my colleagues who are not neurologists like I am, who are in different fields. And they're always just surprised to see that Alzheimer's disease and the death rates due to AD have increased from 2000 to 2013. Again, we're just coming through, hopefully, COVID. We're going to have readjustments of numbers. We're going to have numbers being relooked at. But just keep in mind that the other diseases where people now are living with, if you will, a chronic illness, our death rates are higher. And this surprises my colleagues, and this allows me as a neurologist to talk to my colleagues about Alzheimer's disease and what we know, why it's important to diagnose, and what we should really be thinking about when we start to deliver care to our patients. Question I always get, and I always put this slide in, what is a dementia? And is dementia the same thing as Alzheimer's disease? And I just really want everyone to think about it this way. Dementia is the umbrella term that we use to talk about a range of really cognitive conditions that, things have changing with memory and thinking, and those changes most often lead to decline. And the key word here is changes. There are different types, if you will, of dementia, and they're listed below. And this is really crucial when anyone talks about, well, I think so-and-so has a dementia. My question always is, well, what type of dementia? What type of dementia? And that's what I'm urging you, if you're hearing that in a discussion, push it a little further and ask what type. It gets people thinking like, well, wait a minute, we have to say a little bit more about what type of dementia is there. And you can see there are many different types. The 10 signs of dementia, as you can see here, many of you are aware of them, you've read about them, the signs of memory loss, but nevertheless, I think it's important to see that multiple areas are being affected when it comes to thinking about dementia and change in thinking. Now, we're doing a lot of work in research right now, and the idea for the research, and especially for me, is the research that we're doing, how does it translate back to the patient and family for better care, diagnosis, and treatment? And that translational piece for me and many of my colleagues is critical. So when we start to think about sex and gender differences as it relates to Alzheimer's, we're looking at risk factors, and we're also looking at areas for research. And you can see I've outlined them in kind of different buckets, if you will, of what we're looking at. But please also be aware they're all related. Things are all related. Things are never in one bucket and not affecting another. So if you have sex hormones, how is that affecting your medical condition? How is that going to affect your medical treatment, how you respond to treatment? And how does that affect with your genetics? This is a simplified table of where we stand right now. And again, I want you to notice that here there are some stars. There are stars around different conditions that we say that could be risk factors that are going to show up differently in women, or we think that women are disproportionately affected. And this is very important because it's really only in the last few years that this is now becoming much more in the literature being shown and discussed, and that the papers are being published on this, okay? And then you can see over here in the protective factors also, we have protective factors against cognitive decline and aging. And again, we have a star, and I want to point out physical activity, getting up and moving, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But these are things, again, to keep in mind because this is where the research is going. Now, as mentioned, that I have a relationship with the Heart Center for Women and its director, Dr. Annabelle Volkman, who, for the last couple of years, we have been talking about the heart-brain connection as it relates to treatment of women with heart disease and women with Alzheimer's and preventing cognitive decline. And I want you to think about the heart-brain connection because it makes things really quite simplistic. What's good for your heart is good for your brain. That is the general message. But we do know that there is change in cognitive functioning in conditions such as atrial fibrillation, other heart conditions where the left ventricle may not be pumping as well, cardiac transplantation, many heart conditions, there is cognitive changes and decline. And several of the cardiac risk factors that people have with heart disease or without frank heart disease also increase the risk of changes in thinking and dementia. And so you have this combination of both things operating. So here is the positive piece on that. If you focus on your heart and take care of your heart, you're taking care of your brain. And that should be the messaging that we have to make all of us think about our heart health, knowing that it's going to help our brain health. Here are how things basically line up between heart disease and women, and also with Alzheimer's disease in women. And one of the things here that we noticed in both specialties is that both heart disease and Alzheimer's disease is less recognized early on in women. Lots to be said about the caregiving roles that we provide. So let's go around prevention. What is the goal for prevention? Here it is. You want to get your brain healthy and strong. And the overall goal, and what I tell my patients and their families, we want to keep independence. That's what everybody wants. Everybody wants independence to make your own decisions, to make your own judgments on what you would like to do and stay physically active. So we have to think about strategies to do that. This picture here just basically shows what we think right now is increasing the risk of developing cognitive decline, change in thinking, and that is continuing to, let's say, continue to go down, okay? This here is what we're thinking decreases the risk, okay? And here are the evidence. And this is how we talk when we think about scientific evidence. Is it strong? Is it moderate? Is it weak? Or is it low? And we're always reviewing this in what we do, because it's important to see how these things work. But it is here, if you talk about decreased risk, you can see higher years of education can decrease your risk. Better physical activity can decrease your risk. Eating a Mediterranean diet can decrease your risk. Cognitive training and exercises can decrease your risk. You can see all of these things, and they're all basically in different colors. Now, physical activity I have to talk about, because this is something that we as women try really hard to be physically active, but that somehow goes to the bottom of our list because we're busy. We're busy. And all I'm going to say is that physical activity, any aerobic activity that you do, you want to alternate it with strength, but aerobic activity, following the American Heart Association guidelines of 30 minutes of aerobic activity a day is good for your brain. And for women, it's looking that it's especially better for our brains. Our brains are responding in a different way than men. Men respond well too, but our brains are responding in a different way to help us with our cognitive wellness and our thinking, and also with our mood. The other thing that's come up and has been really gaining a lot of ground is diet and nutrition. This is something that I'm pleased to say that is now getting into the scientific literature. As physicians, we've always wanted to talk to our patients about diet and what they're eating, yet it's not routinely done, and we're trying to change that because we're finding that certain diets are really helping for brain health and cognition. One diet that is being investigated right now is called the MIND diet. And this diet is, you can think about it as a combination of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. And you can see what I've listed down for those two diets. This diet has been given into older adults to see if it's slowing down any cognitive changes that can occur over following them. We did for 2 years, okay? Now, these adults that we followed had a family history of someone in the family having Alzheimer's disease, and they weren't exercising or already on if you will, a healthy diet when they enrolled. The results are coming through right now. We're finishing up the study, so stay tuned. But this study is an important study because it's showcasing in an older adult population that doesn't have heart disease per se, how our diets, like a combination of a Mediterranean and a DASH, how is that working to prevent cognitive decline? Not physical decline, but cognitive is the main, what we say, outcome for this study, and that's what we're going to be looking at. The last thing I think here, and this slide, and telling you about this slide right now compared to last year, you probably all realize, wow, social engagement. What happens when you're not able to socially engage? You all have felt probably what I have felt, that disengagement, that you're not as sharp. At times you're like, whoa, what happened with the COVID pandemic? Well, this is really also coming in the literature before COVID, that the more socially engaged you are with relationships and with people, I always say you like, is good for your brain. And it makes you think better, you feel better, your health is better. And persons who don't have that social engagement and don't have those connections don't do well. So this is something that we're now, again, looking in the research and trying to understand how we can enhance that and how the built environment and the environments that we live in can promote that. Last couple slides, research, research, research. One of the things that has happened over the last couple of years is that, with the memory testing that gets done typically in the clinics, number one, it is not accessible for a lot of people. Number two, it takes a lot of time. And number three, frankly, people get very nervous in doing those types of tests. The question has come up, can we do things remotely? Can we do things that people can access in their home, do it in an environment that they are comfortable in, and get really top-notch results about how they're thinking, how they're doing. So the APT web study is seeking to do this by giving cognitive testing done online and repeating it at a set period of time, following people over time. So you would sign up. When you sign up, you'll do the testing and you'll keep doing it. And if any changes occur, you'll get a ping saying, you know what, we've noticed some changes in your memory scores. There are some studies that may be going on you want to learn about. Here is a referral to a place that you may want to get memory testing further looked into and come in a study, and get people to start thinking about their brain health just as they think about their heart health, their blood pressures, and other routine testing done that we have. The other study that right now that's going on, is the Pointer study. Now, you probably have read about this study, 5 sites around the country, but this study is really exciting because it's finally taking things that we promote as physicians and our care teams, okay? Exercise, diet, sleep right, cognitive activities, do all of those things, keep yourself healthy. But here we're actually testing it. We are testing this out to see how does this type of intervention, doing all 3 things, going to help with memory functioning down the road. And we're testing it basically by doing cognitive tests with our folks, but also MRIs and PET scans of the brain, which are specialized scans. We're adding on cardiac monitoring. We're adding on a sleep study. We're doing everything we can to show that not only when we say to do these things, there are measurable results. And the last study I want to tell you that is now coming across the country, because now we've opened up our recruitments for our studies post-COVID, fingers crossed here, the AHEAD study. The AHEAD study is now an active medical medicine study where we're using a drug that is an MAB, okay? It is MAB, lecanemab. When you see MAB, it means monoclonal antibody. And this is a drug that will try to remove the amyloid in the brain that we feel is one of the major players of causing Alzheimer's disease in the brain. Now, this trial will be looking at different dosages. It's trying to personalize the dose you get, so it's not like everybody gets the same dose, if you will. And we are going to start recruiting for this study very soon right now. We feel that the amyloid in the brain is really the culprit in many ways of what's happening with Alzheimer's disease. And if you can remove that amyloid here, so you can see a normal type of a PET scan, and here you can see a PET scan that has a lot of amyloid in it. The tracer is picking up the amyloid. If we can remove this amyloid, we're hoping then your thinking will not only come back to normal, but also it will impact how well your movement is, your mood, and all those different things. We're trying to understand these relationships right now, and this is the MAB story. You heard just before I came on about the recent FDA approval of aducanumab. More details will be coming out about this drug from the association. So I'm going to leave it here right now. What can you do? First of all, you have to keep calm. And these are the things that you need to do. Again, nothing earth-shattering, but now we're finding the science behind it to support this. So when we say to do these things, it really means a lot to us as doctors and as scientists to say this works. And this is the best way forward. So I'm going to end right now, and I want to thank you for your attention. I know it's a lot of information, but let's open it up to some questions.
Dr. Agarwal, we've already had a couple of questions, and for anyone else who is can you hear me? Did I do
Sure
that?
can.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
There's always one moment in all
Yeah.
of these Zooms where somebody forgets to turn their mic back on. We've gotten a couple of questions in
Yeah.
the chat, and I just want to say to everyone who's listening, please put your questions in the chat. We may not get to all of them now, but we will figure that out for later. And one of the themes that came up from the couple of questions that we've gotten already are about this new treatment. Anything in specific you want to address with the new drug? There was one question that specifically asked about from Cassie about the controversy over the drug and the 3 members who voted against it and resigned from the FDA.
Yeah, thanks, Cassie, for your question on that. This is why I'm saying it's going to be really important for everyone to really stay tuned to the association as we're putting information out, because it's changing so quickly since last Monday. Okay, I think what I can say is that we haven't had a drug approved for forever. I mean, honestly, for a long time, 2003. And this is definitely something that, gives multiple researchers hope that we're moving in the right direction. We've had multiple failed clinical trials, and I'm a trialist, and that bothers me when I have to talk to people and say, we have another trial that didn't hit the endpoint, or we have another trial that didn't do well. So this is definitely, a movement forward and how we're looking at the disease and showing progress. What the specific details, Cassie, it's going to be, what's the indication for it, and also for the latest news about those members that basically resigned, that's going to be, we're going to have to wait and hear what the data comes out. Again, I say data, what the data comes out on that before commenting. I would say follow the association's lead, because they're very diligent and they're very good in making sure we all stay up to date, including myself.
And as far, Heather had another piece of it, and this is my curiosity as well.
Yeah.
How, if let's say that everything is fine with this particular treatment and drug, how does this change how you will approach your patients and look at their whole treatment plan?
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrific question. And, first of all, it's a terrific question. And I'm happy that it's finally coming up again in our field. I want you to think back that, third slide or so, when I showed you all the other specialties that people are living longer. Okay. And they're living longer with, I'm saying, chronic conditions. We weren't in a place where people were living longer with the chronic condition that we were treating. People were having memory changes in Alzheimer's with, treatment, but not like these other specialties, my colleagues. So I'm looking to learn from them. To your question, Jean, how are we going to integrate this in how we care for adults? We're going to be also looking at our cardiology colleagues, our cancer colleagues. How have they integrated the recent medications with care planning, testing, imaging, okay, payment, we got to talk about payment, all those things together. So these are things that we're moving there now. And I have to say, I'm happy to see that movement, because we have to start this new conversation on that.
Yes. And one last question. It was a comment from Kathy, and it's the exact thing I thought when you brought it up. What about the research around how COVID and the isolation from COVID has affected people living with the disease? That was one of Cassie's comments, that she saw a change in her mother as well. And I've heard that from so many. My father died early in the pandemic, so I didn't see, but there was a time to see it. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, clearly, and I'm glad Cassie brought it up with, persons living with the dementia, and then also the caregivers, and all of us, we all got affected in various levels and degrees. The thing that with persons living with dementia, one of the things that I would get back, remember, I couldn't go into the nursing home either. I was not essential staff in a nursing home, but I do work, with colleagues who do. And they would say to me, the lack of being close and having that proximity with another human being, and with the mask on, and that distance with the mask on, had such a profound effect initially when we were in it. Then the inability to recognize facial features, okay, also caused changes in cognition, like who are you? I don't know. So then we had to go to voice recognition, which a lot of times you see, Maybe the face isn't recognized, but the voice is. But now you have a mask on muffling your voice. So your voice is not the same as if you had no mask on. So I think the data is coming out now what the impact was. More irritation, more agitation at times, not as clear, more confused as to who is everyone because of the face covering, I think was the big thing. The other thing that we're also learning, now let's talk about COVID. And the data's coming out, again, I'm a neurologist and I'm following very closely the neurologic changes that are going on in multiple folks across many, many ages of post-COVID. So this COVID long hauler syndrome that came out very early, now we're looking at it from a neurologic point of view that has a lot to do with cognition, migraine, fatigue, change in thinking. And so we're going to be learning about that as we follow people who have survived COVID and how their cognition is. And this is a big priority right now to set up these clinics, these what we call long hauler clinics.
Yeah, I know a few people in that category, and brain, and they, a lot of them describe it as brain fog, but
exactly,
wonder what else could it indicate. And we have one last question, and it's about the connection between dementias and sugar.
Yeah. Well, listen, we all like sugar, we all love it, but it's in moderation, people. It's all I can say. You know, it's not good to be your glycemic load, if you will, or how much you are intaking. There is data to suggest if you moderate that and go down, not scale up, go down, it's good for your brain. You know, it's like the fat situation. We need fat. The brain needs fat too. It's important for the myelin. It's important for, you know, our functioning, if you will, but too much of it is going to hurt. So one thing I do want to mention about sugar, and maybe I'm bringing it back to the heart now, and you can see what I'm doing here. More sugar you intake through soda pop, okay? There has been a lot of evidence, you can Google this up to see, about sugary drinks and soda pop and et cetera. Not only is it bad for diabetes and pre-diabetes, but also when you talk about stroke, okay? Stroke. And that's coming in the cardiovascular space there. So again, follow the cardiovascular lead, the Heart Association's lead, and then see how that can help out your brain. And I think we're good to go on that. But that's what I'd say, stroke. Stroke is what I'd be worried about in vascular conditions with sugary drinks and just sugar in general.
Wow. Dr. Agarwal, you are amazing. And thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
People have put this in the comments, but I will share it as well. Thank you for your dedication so that we can imagine a world without this disease. And even if we get to the point where it's just a chronic disease and it's something that's manageable, I think many of us would be happy with even that. So thank you so much for your hard work. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me here. It's a great event. And again, so much to talk about, lots to talk about.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
It's been a bright light with some hope for the future. And
absolutely.
That's what we all need. Thank you so much.
All right.
Now, I have the honor of introducing Meredith Marks. She's a Chicago native, and she's an award-winning and celebrity favorite designer of jewelry who recently appeared on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She was immersed in fashion from a young age. She studied fine arts before she attended graduate school at Northwestern University. Go Cats. While working in real estate development and owning a health club, Meredith also became a wife and a mother, and later found her niche in jewelry design. In 2009, she launched Meredith Marks Jewelry. Her designs convey strength, inspiring independence, confidence, and empowerment. And you've seen them on stars like Rihanna, Charlize Theron, Courtney Cox, and many others. Please join me in welcoming Meredith Marks.
Thank you, Jean, for the warm welcome. I'm here today alongside of everyone else on a mission to end Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia. It is a cause that is very dear to me, as I lost my father a few months ago. He passed away due to complications from dementia and coupled with some complications from COVID. It was a very devastating time. I had felt that I had lost my father a long time ago from his dementia. I did lose him emotionally, but I don't think I realized how difficult the physical loss would be. He was an incredibly kind man, loving, and really always wanted me to pursue any interest, any dream, and fully supported me in every endeavor. And it's unfortunate to me and very sad that he, even in these last years when he was alive, didn't really know what I was able to do and was unaware of what I was doing because of his illness. Because of everybody here today, we can change the trajectory of this disease and help all of the families facing this disease. I am committed to helping us all move towards the Alzheimer's Association's vision of a world without Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Thanks to each and every one of you for being here today and all that you're doing to help support the fight to end Alzheimer's and all other forms of dementia.
Thank you so much, Meredith, for sharing your story with us. I'm Jessica Wright, one of the co-chairs of today's event, along with Amy Sunshine. Amy and I would like to take this moment to thank you all for joining us today. We know this is a challenging time, and your support as we raise awareness of Alzheimer's impact on women is greatly appreciated. We would like to say a special thank you to our committee for all they have done to make this event possible. Thank you so much. June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. This is also an opportunity to recognize the perseverance of dementia caregivers and all those fighting to end Alzheimer's. Thank you for your unwavering strength and dedication. I'll turn it over to you, Amy.
Thanks, Jessica. Now we are so honored to present the third annual Caregiver Award. This award recognizes an unpaid family caregiver in Illinois who has devoted their time, compassion, and energy to caring for a loved one with Alzheimer's or a related form of dementia. The committee was so moved by the many nominations we received, and we are incredibly grateful for all the amazing caregivers. Today, we are proud to honor Jean Winship. The committee was inspired by how Jean has served as the primary caregiver for her husband for 2/3 of their married life. Jean, we thank you. You will be receiving your award in the mail as a small token of our appreciation. Now here is a message from Jean.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first say how grateful I am for the work of the Alzheimer's Association and Illinois Women Conquer Alzheimer's. I'm also very thankful to my dear family, friends, healthcare providers, and paid caregivers who have been such a tremendous support in our journey. I was deeply honored and moved to have been nominated and recognized in this manner. As you know, most family caregivers are rarely seen or heard, let alone recognized in this way. So today I'd like to ask to represent all my fellow caregivers out there in this moment. Allow me the great honor of acknowledging each and every one of you who care for a family member or friend with any form of dementia. It is truly a special calling. I'd particularly like to shine a light on those who care for spouses and significant others, as I share in that experience. And today, let's remember those in our dementia community who lost their lives during the COVID-19 pandemic or are still recovering and struggling, either physically, emotionally, or financially. You, my fellow caregivers, you are my heroes. I care for my beloved husband, Dan. We've known each other for 30 years and have been married for 18. Less than 7 years after our wedding, he began to show signs of mild cognitive impairment, though I didn't know what to call it then. In January of 2013, he was diagnosed with dementia consistent with Alzheimer's. We knew in that moment that our lives had changed forever. Our hopes, our dreams, well, they were tucked neatly into that folder they give you with the prescriptions and pamphlets. But we also knew we needed to learn to live with this disease. And we were very fortunate to have resources available to us from Northwestern, Rush, CJE, and the Alzheimer's Association. Resources that, as we also know, are in short supply in much of the rest of the country. we decided, among other things, and I'm going to share my screen now, to get involved with the annual Alzheimer's Walk to End Alzheimer's. So I'm going to show you a few photos from that as I close. And as you can see, we're very happy in all of these photos. We walk with a team, Dan, Danny, and friends, and Danny is our captain. Today, Dan is in the latter stages of Alzheimer's, and last November, I had to make the heartbreaking decision to enroll him in in-home hospice services, although I also know that's in accordance with his wishes. We're very fortunate that he still enjoys music, being outdoors, and although he's barely able to verbalize, he still finds ways to communicate. He laughs, he smiles, and he literally lights up when he sees children or animals. I can only pray that this continues until our journey ends. I'm also blessed that although Dan hasn't known my name in many years, he still seems to understand I belong with him. One day he was exceptionally confused and he asked whether there were other people in the apartment with us. And I said, nope, just us chickens. Then I looked in his eyes and I was compelled to ask, sweetie, do you know who I am? And almost without pause, he responded, you're my chicken. To this day, well, we laughed, and to this day, it's one of my favorite moments with him. I am happy that I am still and was his chicken. In closing, these are a few photos from the walk in the last 2 years. This is Dan with his family and grandchildren. Our walk last year, which we walked over to Lincoln Park Zoo. And finally, this is a photo of Dan's and my great-grandson, JR. And I think we would all be in agreement that he sends the perfect message when what we all want is that for his generation to not experience Alzheimer's or any of the dementias that we contend with today. Thank you so much for this recognition. To all the caregivers out there, God bless you. You truly are my heroes. And have a great afternoon, everyone.
I think I speak for everyone when I say that. That was so moving. Seeing Meredith's pain and understanding that I was sitting in her shoes this time last year. And Jean, God bless you, and blessings to all the caregivers. We know how challenging it is, those of us who have done it. And we're praying for you, we're lifting you up, and of course, we're all here for you as well. I do hope that you will join us at the Walk to End Alzheimer's this fall. The Alzheimer's Association is moving forward with plans to host them in person, and we will also continue to offer virtual online participation as well as in your neighborhood, depending on your comfort level. I will be co-hosting the Chicago Walk with Alan Kraszewski this year at Soldier Field, so hopefully you will join us. In the meantime, don't forget to share all your photos, hashtag #PowerOfPurple21, and your stories as well. The more we flood the internet and your group with our stories, it helps to get rid of some of the misinformation. It increases awareness, and it also, lightens the load. I took care of my father for 4 years. He had frontotemporal lobe dementia, and COVID is what ended his life. But I am the most grateful, like Jean, for those moments that he was there, because he's still in there. All of our loved ones are still in there. And I just wish that there had been more that I could have done, that medicine could have done for him. But I also know that we all did our best. And I think that that's true of every caregiver, that, when the final goodbye happens, we can say we gave all we could, we loved as hard as we could. And in a lot of ways, especially now, just a year afterwards, right before the longest day and Father's Day. I sit here and think how much that experience changed me for the better. You know, they say sometimes when your heart breaks and you put it back together again, it gets bigger. And I think that's where I am right now. So I hope that you have the same experience in your lives, wherever you are on your journey with this disease. Now is also your chance to support the critical work of the Alzheimer's Association. If you are able at all, we're asking you to make a gift of any size. Every dollar counts, so that the Alzheimer's Association can continue accelerating critical research, like as what Dr. Agarwal so clearly explained to us, and help us and help everyone to have access to treatments, and providing 24/7 support for all those who need it. The Alzheimer's Association website was the first place I went when my dad got his diagnosis, and it helped me to easily find all the support that he needed and that I needed too. As earlier we shared, thank you to the support of the Make It Better Media Group, the McGessie family, the Setsky family, and Amy Sunshine. Thanks to them, your gift today will be matched up to $10,000. So your money's going to count for double. Anybody who donates is going to be entered for that gorgeous floral arrangement from Petal Design by Renee Ziprich. And thank you to all of you who've already made donations today. We really do appreciate you and your generosity and your thoughtfulness. Let's take a look and see how far we've gotten today toward our goal, which is $50,000 for today. Wow, we are making great progress. Once again, you can text and give. You just saw that flip off your screen. There it is again, Power of Purple 21. Text that to 76278 to get started. Make your donation there and text give and the amount you'd like to give. And then, or you can also click the link that's in your text message for that. Now, if you are able, thank you so much, Kate Shea, for your $100 donation. We appreciate you. So see the instructions there, just give 100. Susan Bennett, we appreciate you. If you're able, consider the $5,000 level, text give 5,000 to 76278. That $5,000 can enable the Alzheimer's Association to provide 10 educational webinars that are valuable, providing essential information to anyone who is living with or caring for somebody with any dementia and Alzheimer's. And thank you to the Make It Better Media Group for your support at this level. Thank you also, Michelle Carson, we just saw you at the $1,500 entry. Also at $2,500, that donation could cover the cost of a care consultation services for 15 families, completely free of charge. The services help families navigate through all the difficult decisions and challenging uncertainties that people who are living with Alzheimer's and their families have to face. Many of us have been there, and sometimes you just don't know what to do, and somebody there to lay it all out for you makes every difference at every stage of the disease, because as we know, it progresses, and as it progresses, things change and you have to make different decisions. So thank you to all of our donors who already donated at this level or above: Amy Nolan, Greenberg Traurig, the McGessie family, Amy Sunshine, Jessica Skincare Laboratories, and Moran family of brands. If you can join at the $2,500 level, please text give 2,500 to 76278 to make your donation. Thank you, Marion Listener, for your $1,000 donation. That donation allows us to establish 10 new support groups in Illinois. I know that my support group was really essential in me making it through the 4 years that my dad was struggling with his dementia, from diagnosis to his passing. So a gift at this level will make you a member of the Alzheimer's Association's prestigious Alois Society with special exclusive access and benefits. So thank you to the following donors: Michelle Carlson, we just recognized her, Danny Giacchino, Victoria Raymont, the Setsky family, First Midwest Bank, Teresa Melroy, and Mary Wasick. Please join them at the $1,000 level if you can. And if $500 perhaps is more in your budget, Marcy Friedman, thank you for your $500 donation. That enables us to cover the costs of a 1-hour community education program. These are essential because it brings awareness where people are. We always talk about access, and we talk about how some people feel they don't have access. This is a way to change that. These programs also provide high quality disease and dementia education so people understand the condition. I've had to explain it to so many of my friends who I know are aware of it on a surface level, but didn't know anybody who had it. And when I explained it, they were like, oh, maybe that was what was wrong with my grandmother. So we still need to educate more people, even though we've been immersed in it. There's so many of us that have stories to tell that other people can relate to. So if you can give 500 to 76278, click your link and click on 500. For at the $250 level, it allows the Alzheimer's Association to reach diverse communities with culturally appropriate materials, ensuring that anyone who is impacted by the disease has access to quality care and support. And this is so important. As a Black woman, I felt like my dad did get the best care, but you know, there's always that trepidation when you go in. What are they going to see him as? Are they going to even consider that it might be something else? Are they going to provide him the testing? And, you know, when you don't know and somebody that looks like you hasn't explained it, and we already saw that in Dr. Agarwal's presentation about how people of different cultures feel around Alzheimer's and related dementias. This is one way we can reach out in a way that really makes a difference. If you are able to give at the $100 level, that allows the Alzheimer's Association to provide brochures and materials for 2 community health fairs and other events where we have tables and representation. Just another way to spread more awareness of the disease and the resources that are available. A lot of people don't realize these resources are free and that they can get help just by calling a number. And sometimes in the middle of the night, when you're crying and you don't know what to do, that phone call could make all the difference in the world. So every dollar makes a difference. Please make a gift of any size that's meaningful for you and for your family. Again, you can text at 76278. Text the word give and the amount you'd like to give. You can also go online at powerofpurple21.givesmart.com. That link will remain live, and you can also send a check if you want to kick it old school. We accept all forms of donations. You can send the check to the Alzheimer's Association Illinois chapter, and we will provide that address on a little bit later. Now, if your company matches employee giving as well, please check to see if this is something that your employer does so we can take that money up to the next level. We are very close to our goal of $50,000. We're at $45,301. And of course, the auction. I think we're going to exceed our donations today. Thank you so much for your generosity. It means a lot to many of us personally, and also to the greater community at large who may not have the resources that we have. Don't miss your chance to bid on those auction items until 5 today. You could also purchase one of Suzanne Dotson's prints to support the Alzheimer's Association. And the story behind it is so beautiful. And now that you know it, when you have it in your house, you can explain it to other people when they come through. And that could end up making all the difference in the world, maybe for one person, for one family. I thank you all for being on our call today. So many of you came and stayed so long, and we appreciate it. Save the date for next year's event. We anticipate that it will be in person. I'm claiming it now. We will see you at Galleria Marchetti on Sunday, June 12th. Thank you all again for everyone who's made donations and for everyone who's attended. Thank you to Dr. Agarwal, Meredith Marks, and Amy and Jessica for such a wonderful organization of the event, and everyone at the Alzheimer's Association and Illinois Women Conquer ALZ. Thank you again, and may we all stay well and safe. Have a great afternoon.